Welcome to the Park City Market Talk webinar for January 2023 from beautiful, snowy Park City, Utah. My name is Ron Wilstein. I'm a broker here at Keller Williams Luxury Properties in Park City. And first and foremost, the skiing is awesome. We have so much snow. It is record-breaking this year. Our first snow came with such a force that we suddenly immediately had avalanche warnings, and we have had snow ever since. It really has been a banner year, and we're early here in January of 2023. We got snow everywhere. It's terrific here, and it's on everybody's windshield. And you can never have enough snow until eventually you start seeing this on people's windshield. More snow. How much snow? Well, there's been some recent reports, and here we're looking at a list of the ski resorts with the best snow in Utah. And I want to just highlight Alta is the top of the list, not because it's in alphabetical order, but because it has the greatest amount of snowfall thus far this year at 517 inches. Crazy. Of course, when we come to Park City has a banner 288 inches. It's not uncommon for 288 inches to be the total for the season, and we have this early in January. Deer Valley with 275 inches, so we just have a boatload of snow. This picture is not of me, but I got a jacket just like it, so it might as well been, because all I've been doing lately is shoveling snow, and that's what we got. Plenty of snow here in Park City with more snow on its way. So we're off to a great start here. This helps our drought. We hope it continues, and skiing couldn't be better. Purpose of today's webinar is it's January, so we want to look at my predictions for Park City real estate in 2023. Now, before we look at my predictions for the new year, let's begin by looking at the statistics as to what happened in 2022. There were 2,698 sales in the year of 2022. That's homes, condominiums, and vacant land. That's all real estate brokerages combined, and that is down by 345 sales, or 11%, from the previous 12-month period. This graph here, we're looking at homes, condos, and lots. The red bar represents the period of January 2022 through December 22, and then the red represents the year before, and so we see a year-over-year comparison. Immediately, you'll notice that the number of transactions is down in each category. 743 was the previous number of home sales. Last year it was 523. It's a 30% drop. In condominiums, we saw a 27% drop to 981 this last year compared to 1343. And for vacant land, for lots, a 36% drop from 724 to 464 sales. Now, it's key to realize that the reason for the drop wasn't a lack of interest in Park City real estate, but rather a lack of properties available to be purchased in all three categories. Now, this graph here looks specifically at homes, and now I've broken it into Park City, the Snyderville Basin, which is the area just outside of Park City, but still within the Park City School District, and then the Jordanelle. And we're seeing in the Park City limits, the number of transactions were down 46% from 216 to 116, 100 fewer sales this last year. Snyderville Basin dropped 42% from 445 to 260. And then we saw, and this is the only category where we saw an increased number of sales year over year, was in the Jordanelle area, climbing from 82 to 147. That's a 79% increase. And that's where the available properties were. So again, it's an indicator that if you're looking for a home and there was limited supply, naturally the number of transactions dropped in Park City and the Snyderville Basin. However, in the Jordanelle, where there was more available properties, people were buying them and buying them up. We're looking at condominiums. Again, we're seeing a drop in all three categories. 45% drop in Park City to 285 from 515. A 8% drop in the Snyderville Basin from 533 to 490. And in the Jordanelle area, a 30% drop from 295 sales to 206. Now we're looking at vacant land. These are lots in Park City where there's just not a lot available. It dropped 20% from 40 in 2020 to or 2021 to 32 in 2022. That's a 20% decrease. We saw a 59% decrease in the Snyderville Basin, dropping from 250 transactions to 103. And then we saw a 24% drop of land in the Jordanelle area to 329 from the previous 434. So when you combine all of this, we saw the one category where it did go up in terms of Jordanelle homes. Otherwise, everything else went down. Number of transactions dropped in most categories, due primarily by a lack of properties to purchase. And then secondly, and it's a close second, the slowdown in the market also did have an impact. Now that's number of transactions. Now let's take a look at prices and see what happened there. Here we're going to see that prices went up in just about every category. We're looking at home medium sold prices. Again, we got the same three categories: Park City, Snyderville Basin, and Jordanelle. We saw a 14% price increase for the medium property in Park City from $3,422,500 to just under $4 million. That's a 14% increase in value. Snyderville Basin saw a 20% increase to $2.3 million from the previous $1,915,000. And then we saw a 31% decrease in the Jordanelle. Again, more inventory came on the market. It happened to be lower priced properties, and therefore they naturally sold for less. Not, again, an indicator of values decreasing, but rather the properties that were available were just less expensive to purchase. So in Jordanelle, it dropped from $2,350,000 to $1,600,000 and change. Again, less expensive property on the market. When we take condos, we see increase, double digits, all three categories. Park City's property condos increased by 15%, from $1,305,000 to $1,005,000. Snyderville Basin rose from $709,000 to $1,075,000. That's a 51% increase. And Jordanelle, 22% increase, climbing from a median price of $800,000 to $973,602. So number of transactions clearly went down, prices clearly went up, and double digits, significant increase. We're looking at land here in Park City, again, where there's just not much land. We saw a total of 32 transactions this past year, but it was a 4% increase year over year, from $1,885,000 to $1,967,500. Snyderville Basin saw a 40% increase, from $775,000 to $1,087,500, a substantial increase. And then in Jordanelle, 2% increase, from $640,000 and change to $653,000. Again, less expensive area overall. So again, we combine these graphs. We say, what does this mean? And what it means is that prices rose in all categories except for one. That one was the Jordanelle home category. And this is based upon demand and people being willing to pay it, and the highest increase was 51% over the previous year's prices. That's what's happening in Park City real estate. So number of transactions down significantly, in part because of lack of inventory, and then now, most recently, because of the market change. Then there's a final statistic I want to show you, and this is time on the market. This is median time for homes. And now we're looking back in 6-month increments. So the red bar represents July through December of 2022, and the silver bar represents January through June of 2022. And these are days on the market as to how fast properties are selling. So you can see that it went from a record fast pace of 19 days to even a faster pace of 8 days, 1 day more than a week, for properties to sell in Park City in homes. So what does this mean? It means that on the one hand, we have a lot of inventory, more than we've had in the past, and number of sales have dropped. We've seen prices increase, and even in the midst of prices increasing, people were buying fast that which they were buying. If you price your property correctly in a market, even a slowing down market, it will sell in record time. If you try to get too much, which Park City has gone through a long period of time of growing and prices increasing and properties increasing and everything increasing, sellers sometimes get ahead of themselves and want more money. And in the midst of a slowdown, which we're in now, they're not selling. So the statistic is that which is selling really fast, and that which is not selling isn't selling. So there is not a statistic for how quickly it sells. It's not selling. So that's our statistics for today. Now let's get to our main topic, which is my predictions for 2023. And we have to begin with an overview of what's happening in the market and in the country overall, if not the globe. We are living in a time of higher interest rates. They're having a great impact as we're looking at inflation. We're looking at a lot of variables here. And so with interest rates, it's kind of interesting. If you're following them, it's kind of like these cubes here that it goes up, you add a cube, it goes up, you add a cube, it goes down, you drop a cube off. The point is interest rates are climbing, but now they're starting to back off a little bit, and we just have to keep an eye on it. But it does have an impact if you're buying a property and you're trying to get a loan. So it's a combination of looking at inflation and the percentages of prices and the cost of living, and just a market where you got arrows going up, you got arrows going down, you got a lot of volatility. A lot is going on in this market. So that's kind of the backdrop as I look at Park City real estate. And when you come to Park City real estate, you've got to consider supply and demand, which is a balancing act. A good, healthy real estate market, it's a balanced market of an equal number of supply and demand. The National Association of Realtors says that if you have a 6-month inventory, that is a balanced market. That's for bigger markets than Park City. Park City, resort town, it's more true to be a 9-month inventory. And of course, we've been a long way away from that over the last couple of years. We want to consider supply and demand, and it can also be likened to a puzzle here, where these are key pieces that forms the picture of what's going on in the real estate market. So we're going to take a look at this, and I want to just start within the context of why are sales down in Park City. We saw prices are still up, but sales are down. There's a couple reasons, because this forms the backdrop of what's going to happen or continue happening in 2023 in Park City real estate. We got a limited inventory. So if you don't have properties to sell, you can't have sales. It's that simple. So, but it should be pointed out that our current inventory is larger than it was just 6 months ago. So with the slowing of the market, there are more choices available for today's buyers than we saw previously, but it's still somewhat limited. Buyers who are requiring financing have tapped their brakes due to the higher interest rates. So that segment of the marketplace that would get a loan, a lot of those folks just are not trying to buy property right now because the interest rates have gone up so much. And while we're seeing it come down a little bit, and I touched on that, many of them are in a wait and see mode. So if you have a property that's more likely to be purchased by someone getting a loan, those buyers have some level of paralysis, and it's impacting the number of transactions. That's why they're down. It should be pointed out that cash buyers are not impacted. They've got cash. They're not influenced by interest rates. They can do whatever they want to do. In fact, they may see investing in real estate a better use of their cash than putting it somewhere else in the market, particularly stock market with all the volatility there. Typically, cash buyers are buying more expensive properties, $2 million and up. Doesn't mean that they're not buying less expensive, but that's typically what you see. The lower priced properties, $2 million and down, which $2 million is still a lot of money, are doing it with financing. So what needs to happen in 2023? Well, it started in 2022, but it's been slow, especially on the part of sellers. Buyers and sellers have to adjust to our changing market in 2023 for there to be real estate transactions. If a seller holds firm on their price and doesn't sell, that impacts the market. If the buyers say, I'm afraid of doing anything because the interest rates are high, that impacts it. So adjustment needs to happen on the part of buyers and sellers. Sellers are happy with their property values having climbed significantly in recent years, but now they're concerned that their values may be starting to fall. They've got to grapple with that. That sometimes makes one seller willing to sell now because of fear that it may go down in the future. Someone else, they feel like they lost money because it was worth more and now it's less. Buyers are happy to see property prices coming down, But as I've said before, higher interest rates have, in some cases, priced some buyers out of the market. So buyers and sellers. Many real estate sales will occur in 2023. I expect it to be more because we do have more choices than in 2022, but only as buyers and sellers adjust to these current market conditions. They both have elements that could cause them not to sell or not to buy, and if that happens, then we're going to have fewer sales. If you don't adjust, there's not going to be any deals. It's just that simple. So as we look at 2023 and we look at Park City real estate, you need to be reminded that cash is king in our marketplace. 52% of all sales are cash transactions. The higher the price property, the more likely buyers will have cash for the purchases. Now I point out 52% of all sales. If you went back the last 10 years, you'd see a low of 48, which is still almost 50%, almost 1 out of 2, and as high as 56%. Lots of cash transactions in Park City. The lower the property price, the more likely the buyers will require financing to purchase. And so the question that often is asked is that what property price should we expect buyers will need financing? And that's a difficult question to answer. But I would say that properties under $2 million are more likely to have buyers looking for financing. Properties that are between $2 and $3 million, some may require financing. Often it's not a lot, but it's a little bit of help to bridge the gap in that higher price point. Once you get above that, certainly financing can be used, but the buyers don't need it. It's a choice outside of does it make it or break the real estate transaction. Properties that require financing to sell will likely need to lower their list prices to sell in today's market. And this is due to higher interest rates, so buyers don't have as much buying power. It's due to buyer reluctance just because of the interest rates or a fear they might be buying a property that is going to go down in value, or just a general sense of hesitation is out there. That will continue in 2023. The inventory of properties for sale, in my mind, should increase and prices will likely drop in many categories. And that will prompt buyers to get off the sidelines, and that will be healthy for the market. They'll start looking to buy, and then we'll see this number of transactions going up. So that's what I'm anticipating. It's not going to be huge, but it's going to be stronger than the decrease that we saw in our earlier statistics. So what about the higher priced properties? What's going to happen there? Sellers were holding firm on their list prices last year, and as a result, many were not selling. But they are now starting to adjust to those list prices lower, bringing it down, and that's important in order to stimulate more interest among the buyers in the hopes of getting offers. That's what I see happening in that higher price range. You just need to realize as you're looking at the Park City real estate market, there's a lot of wealth in Park City. It's there among the people who already own real estate. It's there among most who want to buy. There's just a lot of people who have a lot of resources to buy property, but not all are ready to pull the trigger for an assortment of the reasons that I've already mentioned. So those are my predictions for 2023. I hope you found them interesting. If you agree, let me know. If you disagree, let me know that too. It's just one guy's opinion. But I've been here 34 years doing this, and I do this every year and have a pretty good track record. So give it thought, and if you have any questions whatsoever about the Park City real estate market, give me a ring or send me an email, ron@thewilsteinteam.com, jeremy@thewilsteinteam.com. He's obviously not on today's webinar, but if you'd like to call back or have any questions, reach out to us, and we're happy to discuss things. Thank you for watching this webinar. We're here to assist you in any way possible. I want to remind you to bookmark BuyParkCity.com. You'll get current information on the Park City real estate market.